Hey folks! A year ago, I made a video about my early impressions about this greenhouse that I got from Costco, the Yardistry cedar greenhouse. Now, that video was very popular, and a lot of you asked a lot of great questions. And here I am a year later with some good 2020 hindsight, and I want to share with you how this greenhouse has held up over the last year. What did I use it for? And what do I plan to use it for the upcoming season? Now, I have an entire playlist about this greenhouse. I've introduced some of the key features, I've talked about the setup, and some of the key gotchas, and I've done some honest to goodness reviews, and I've even done a series of frequently asked questions. So be sure to check that out. I'll leave a link over here somewhere, and I'll also leave a link at the end of this video. Now, just for context, I live in Northern California in the beautiful Bay Area, and it's the end of winter right now. So it's almost spring for us. In fact, I've started taking a lot of my plants outside. But technically, because I've got a really long growing season, the greenhouse really does not have much utilitarian value as far as extending my growing season. However, I do use it for a couple of main reasons. Number one, to start my seedlings and get them hardened off in the greenhouse. And number two, to overwinter some of my more sensitive plants that can't even handle a day of frost. But there are some benefits I did not quite expect, and I'll share those with you during the course of the video. And I also found some really nice ways to repurpose it or at least make it useful during the summer as well. And I'll be sure to put some snippets so you can see how pretty it looked even during the summer. Okay, enough jibber jabber. Let's turn around and take a look inside the greenhouse. First off, isn't it a beautiful greenhouse? I never expected that it would add so much character to an otherwise barren space in my backyard. And the green stalks, the vertical towers that I've got around it definitely amp up the beauty of it. And I've definitely got a lot of videos on these green stalks, so check out my playlist if you want to learn how I use them. I mean, it's the middle of winter and look at them. They're just exploding with growth. And these are broccoli and rapini and other things that have gone to flower, and these are all growing. All these yellow flowers, the ones in the front and the back, are growing in one green stalk. But I'm getting carried away. This video is about the greenhouse, not about the green stalks. Let's get back to our greenhouse. I love the lights, the solar lights that we put up around it. It just adds an element of mystery and magic during the nighttime. Okay, so the first thing that many people ask me about is this bridge and whether it came with the greenhouse. And no, it did not. It's something that I just picked up on Amazon, but it looks so cute and makes the greenhouse look so inviting, doesn't it? As we walk towards the door, I do want to take a pause and talk a little bit about this latch. Now, I've talked about this in previous videos as well, but definitely bears some repeating because this has caused a lot of trouble to a lot of people. In fact, I had a friend quite recently who got this greenhouse set up that locked herself in when she got in. Something about this, if you don't actually push it down properly, there's the spring-loaded closing hinge over here. As it closes and it bangs, it sometimes locks. So the two things that I do is I always make sure that I keep it in this sort of locked position when I open it. And I always carry my phone with me. My friend who got locked in, I'd actually told her about this particular problem with this greenhouse, but it still happened to her. And then I asked her, why? I told you that it'll happen. Why didn't you take better care? She said, well, I just didn't expect it would happen so quickly. She's too funny. So as we step into the greenhouse, remember that it's the end of February, so it's a transition period. My seedlings that I started indoors, I brought outside, and there are still some plants that are overwintering in here. And here they are, my seedlings. These are my pride and joy, my tomatoes, one full tray of them. And I've got peppers, I've got more peppers, I've got cilantro, which actually can go outside. And I've got some lovely Genovese basil that I'm growing from seedlings. And all kinds of other goodies, guys. Those are zinnias. These are all different varieties of basil. And oh, look at these. Check out, these are pomegranates that I'm growing from seed. Now, this is that large, really large pomegranate that you get from Costco. Those are the seeds that I saved. And I am growing some plants. So let's see how they do. Now, like I said, one of the huge advantages of this greenhouse and having my seedlings over here is that I don't need to harden them off. Now, hardening is the process by which you bring your seedlings outdoors for a few hours every day, extending it every day, and then finally, they're ready to transplant outdoors. You don't want to make that abrupt change from the inside, nice, cozy, perfect conditions to the wild, wild west outdoors. So that actually is a step I don't have to do because this greenhouse is already pretty close to the ambient temperature that I've got outside. And it's also got this vent. This is an automatic vent, purely mechanical, that opens and closes. When the temperature goes up pretty high, it opens. When the temperature comes down, it closes. Now, I've talked about this vent in the features video that I did on the greenhouse a year ago, but a lot of people have said that they've not been able to get it to work. It didn't fit too well. Frankly, ours didn't either. My husband had to file it down a little bit to get it to fit perfectly. But don't miss out on that really neat feature. It's probably one of the best features of this greenhouse is this mechanical way by which it opens and closes depending on the temperature outside. I can go on vacation for the weekend and come back and not worry that all my plants would be either fried or frozen. So I would say definitely do not compromise on that feature if you're getting this greenhouse. More seedlings here, more peppers, lots of marigolds, some new herbs. This, I believe, is motherwort, and this is sculpit that I'm growing. And this is a pretty sad looking ginger. Now, this I actually started in water indoors, and then I put it in soil and I brought it to my greenhouse. I believe that it is still in kind of a semi-dormant state. Ginger is a tropical plant, and so it needs a lot of warmth. So I think it's going back to sleep. Or maybe it's just dying, I don't know. And one more unexpected benefit, my seedlings do not get damping off disease in the greenhouse. Even though I do see fungus gnats flying around, like that one over there, they actually don't cause a problem because they get a lot of wonderful sunshine that kills off any fungal activity. So this is not the case indoors. I had and continue to have problems with damping off disease here and there. Not too much. I've learned to control it. Now, I still have a lot of plants over here that actually do not belong in the greenhouse anymore. Things like succulents, indoor plants need to go back into the house while I repurpose this greenhouse completely for starting things for my summer garden. So another thing that I am doing, as I mentioned, I am overwintering some of my sensitive plants. So like my dragon fruit. This one I'm really excited about. This is a red with white flesh. It's a self-pollinating variety. The one that I have is not self-pollinating, unfortunately. It's a nice big plant, but it didn't produce any fruit for me. Some beautiful flowers though. So I'm getting this and I'm hoping that this will not just self-pollinate, but maybe even produce some pollen that I can use to fertilize the one that I have that's not self-pollinating. I've also got coleus that I am overwintering. Now, coleus is extremely fussy with cold temperatures. It can't even stand temperatures that are below 40 degrees. It starts to really struggle. So they're doing okay. They're hanging in there. And soon I'm going to be able to start moving these outside. And another thing that I do every winter is I propagate my succulent leaves. Look how cute that is. Let me pull this out and show you. Isn't that super adorable? All I do is I gently twist and pull off the leaves from my succulent, and then I just lay it on here on some moist soil, and they all start to grow. I am also starting plants from cuttings in the greenhouse. This is elderberry, and this is passion vine, and I believe this is trumpet flower. Now, I usually have all of these covered with a plastic bag. I took the bag off to show you guys, but the bag helps create a humid environment, which really helps with the cuttings rooting. So I do have a few new plans for the greenhouse for the summer. I grew succulents indoors last summer and they looked really pretty, and I'm going to do that again this year, but I'm also going to grow some tropical plants. For example, ginger does not like hot, dry heat that we have during summer. So I'm going to try and grow it in the greenhouse during summer. My greenhouse is positioned under a large oak tree, and so it casts some shade. So I'm hoping that that will make for a better experience for the ginger. Let's see how it does. And I might get a couple of other tropical plants as well. Maybe turmeric. I don't know. I'm going to try growing outside as well as in the greenhouse just to see how they do. Are there any thoughts that you guys have on what I should be using this greenhouse for in my Bay Area garden? So remember, we get really hot during summer. That's why I don't use it as much. But if there's anything that you think I should be doing with this greenhouse during the summer, please do leave a comment below. So one more thing that I wanted to tell you guys about as we leave the greenhouse is the price of the greenhouse. Now, it's available online in Costco as well as in store, not all the time and not all the time in both places, but there is a big difference in price between the online and the in-store. Online typically I've seen to be much more expensive, but then again it does include shipping and handling, which for me was a big deal because I don't have a truck that I can bring it back home in. So I've seen it go on sale as well online. In fact, last September I believe it went on sale for like $11.99 when the price is typically $14.99. So that's a big difference, a $300 swing in price. So if you guys want to wait for a sale rather than go out and buy it at full price, that might actually be the smart thing to do because it definitely does go on sale. If you do have this greenhouse, let me know your experience of using it. Obviously, my experience is very, very specific to my area here in Northern California, and I know that different people have different experiences. So please share how you have enjoyed or not this lovely greenhouse. And if you like this video, do hit that like button as well as subscribe to my channel if you want to know more about how the greenhouse is doing or just how my garden is doing this year. Until next time, live green and love your greens.